Good job.
The President, please be seated. The court is now back in session, and the floor is now given to the co-prosecutor to continue his line of questioning for this witness. Co-prosecutor, thank you, Mr. President. Now, I would like to move on to another question. In answer number 8 of your OCIJ interview, under E3/5511, you made the following statement, and I quote, "Many people fell sick thanks to overwork and lack of food to eat. People who were sick and could not go to work were sent to be treated in the hospital. In the hospital, people were appropriately treated, but there were not enough medicines." End of quote. And my question for you is that I would like you to indicate in general what was the most common health problem of the sick people who were sent to the Tram Kok District Hospital. Answer: those patients who were sent to my hospital were suffering from diarrhea, swollen body, and also malaria. Question: can you tell the court what are the medicine are in desperate need for your hospital at the time? At my hospital at the time, we were lacking of every medicine. We had very limited medicines for our purpose. Question: and you said many patients were suffering from diarrhea and malaria. Did you think at the time that those medicines were sufficient for that treatment purpose? Answer: no, they were not sufficient for our treatment purpose at the time. Question: now I would like to move on to another answer 147 of your interview with the OCIJ under E319.1.21. You were asked how many patients your hospital admitted each day, and you provided the following response. And I quote, "We received about 10 men each day, but some of them died because of their condition were too serious. There were more than 100 women each day." End of quote. And my question is as follows. Was there a reason that the number of female patients at your hospital was much higher than the number of male patients? Why was so many sick in Tram Kok people? President, witness, please hold on. Now, Mr. Victor Koppe, you may proceed.
I have something different in my English version of the interview. It says 30 and not 10, but maybe something went wrong with the translation.
សាកតែឆ្លើយតប
President, witness, please respond to the question posed by the co-prosecutor. Witness, could you please repeat your question? The President, please hold on. There's a technical problem with the transcripts machine. Court officer, please coordinate with the staff so that we can have the problem fixed for a proper operation. President, yes, co-prosecutor and witness. Prosecutor, could you please repeat your question to the witness so that he can reply? Prosecutor, my question for you is as follows. Why there were more female patients than the male persons at Tram Kok Hospital? Answer. There were more female patients at the District 105 hospital because women were weaker than men and they were exposed to hard labor. They did overwork and there were many women falling sick and they were sent to the hospital. Co-prosecutor, I have another question before I conclude my line of questioning for you. You also stated that some of patients who were sent to your hospital died, and I quote, because their condition were too serious, end of quote. End of quote. Can you explain what do you mean by this? That is, what were the condition of people who died? Correction. Answer. Those patients who were serious and sent from various communes, they were sent from the work sites, and their condition was serious since they were at the work site, and there was some time delay at the commune, and then when they arrived at my hospital, it was too late to rescue, so they died. Co-prosecutor, thank you, Mr. Witness, for responding to my question, and Mr. President, I have no further question to put to this witness, and my esteemed colleagues will continue his line of questioning for this witness. President, please, International Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, Mr. Witness. My name is Dale Isaac, and I'll be asking you some questions this morning and this afternoon. I want to start by asking you about how the district hospital reported to the leaders of Tram Kok District. Can you tell us how the hospital reported to the Tram Kok District Committee, and specifically whether you sent written reports or whether your reporting was done verbally in person?
Answer. The way we did reporting from our District 105 hospital, we did not prepare a written report for the district committee, but we would appear before the district chief to make oral report. Because we thought that it is not helpful to prepare a written report because there was no medicine, food ration was not sufficient for the patient, so we keep doing oral report as usual, and there was no problem with that oral report.
Thank you. How often did you attend meetings to report to the district chief?
Answer: I would go to the district office by myself alone at the end of each month. Sometime at any time before the end of the month, I can see him to make oral report. Sometime I made oral report, but I received no recommendation from him.
And can you tell us where it was that you would meet with the district chief and who else would be present at those meetings?
Answer: I would meet with him, with the district chief, at the district office.
Could you tell us where the district office was located?
Answer: the district office was located at Ongaroka Market. It was at a concrete house belonged to the former Chinese owner, and the owner left, and the market was empty. There was the house standing, and the Khmer used it as an office for them.
You stated a couple of minutes ago that you went to report to the district chief by yourself. Is there a reason that the chiefs of the hospital, the three women who you identified earlier, is there a reason that that person didn't come to the meetings?
Answer: talking about reporting, especially reporting of the patient, I did oral report for that, but reporting about the party's activity or work, the three chiefs would go to the district chief to make report.
Now, in your OCIJ interview E3 5511, and perhaps before I get to that, Mr. President, maybe at this time I'll ask to provide to the witness and his counsel his two OCIJ interviews, E3/5511 and E319.1.21, and also I would request to provide him his two DC CAM interviews, as I may have some questions from those. The two DC CAM interviews are, for the record, D313/1.2.409 and D313/1.2.410. With your leave, Mr. President, can I provide those four statements to the witness?
The President, Co-Prosecutor, your request is granted.
Now, Mr. Witness, I've provided these to you and your counsel just so you have them in case you wish to refer. I'm going to refer now to answer 15 in your first OCIJ interview, E3/5511. In that answer, you described a quarterly meeting at which you were asked by the district committee why people in the hospital suffered from diarrhea and puffiness or swelling. Can you tell the court what you told the district committee when they asked you why there were people in the hospital who were sick with diarrhea and swelling?
Answer. When I report to him that people suffer from swelling and diarrhea because the lack of nutrition for their health, that is the reason why they had this kind of illness.
And you said him, at this meeting, were you reporting to the entire district committee, or was it just the district chief?
Answer. I reported to only the district chief.
And what was the district chief's response when you told him that people were sick because they didn't have enough food to eat and were suffering from malnutrition?
Answer. The district secretary responded to me that I was attacking the cooperative by my report, by my words.
And did you ask the district chief to provide more food to the hospital? And if so, what was his response?
Answer. At the time, I did not request anything because I would often request, but I received nothing in return.
In the next answer, question and answer, in that same statement, E3/5511, answer 16, you described the ration of rice that was given by the district to your hospital as follows, quote, I was allowed to have 50 cans of rice for 250 patients. 4 cans of rice were equivalent to 1 kilogram, end of quote. Can you tell us, was that a daily ration? What was the period for which you would receive 50 cans of rice for 250 patients?
Answer. This is a daily ration.
And did the rations remain the same throughout the entire period that you worked at the district hospital?
Answer. I didn't know what happened in other places, but this is happened at my place.
Do you remember the year this meeting took place, or do you remember who the district chief was at the time of this incident where you reported that there was malnutrition and you were accused of attacking the cooperatives?
Answer: I forget the date and year, but at the time the district chief was Tachai Tachim, and in particular Tachai would accuse me of attacking seriously the cooperative.
While we're talking about the district chiefs, I want to see if I can go through with you the succession of people who were the district chief of Tramcock during the Khmer Rouge regime. In your interview E319.1.21 at answer 213, you identified a woman named Kom, who was the daughter of Tamok and the wife of Mies Mut, and stated that she was the District 105 secretary early in the regime, but that, in your words, she went insane. Can you describe for the court what Ye Kom was like as a district chief and what happened to her?
Answer: at that time, Ye Kom was the district secretary, but later she became insane. She kept saying words. Sometimes when I met her, she ordered me to cut the big tree and to dig the ground to pull out the stem of the tree. But actually, she was insane.
And do you know what happened to her after she became insane?
Answer: after the incident that she became insane, I don't know what happened to her because I left the area for Kampong Saum.
In answer 13 of interview E3/5511, you identified the following people as being District 105 committee. Quote, Tachai, Takit, Tachim, and Tasan. And you noted that Takit and Tachim were biological siblings. And in your DC CAM interview, D313/1.2.409 at English ERN 00729-041, Khmer 00418-824, and French 00808-621, you stated, quote, question, what was the name of the district's chief? Answer, it was Takit, whose predecessor was Tachim. Takit was followed by Tasan, younger brother-in-law of Tamok, end of quote. Do I understand correctly that Tachim was the district chief after Ye Kom?
Answer, in fact, Tachim was the chief of Tramcock before Ye Kom, and when Chim was sent to the rubber plantation, and then Ye Kom was assigned to replace him.
All right, I'll come back to that in a little while. After Tachim and Yekom, can you tell us your recollection of who the district chiefs were?
Answer. Before the end of the Khmer Rouge regime, Tasan, the brother-in-law of Tamok, who was the district chief.
And you've indicated that Tachai was district chief for a period. Can you tell us when he was district chief, or who it was that, where he fell in the succession of district chiefs, who he was district chief after and before?
Answer. After Tachai, there were two cadres, Takut and Tachim, and later Yekom, and after that Tasan, who was the brother-in-law of Tamok.
Mr. Witness, I'm going to try to refresh your recollection about the timing of that Chim and Kit were district chiefs. In interview E319, interview OCIJ interview E3400 at pages Khmer 00373 459, English 00379 171, French 00426 179. And this was an interview of former District Chief Chim. He testified that he left Tram Kok to go to Kampong Cham to the rubber plantation in February 1977, and that he was replaced as district secretary by his brother Kit. Does that refresh your recollection that Chim was district secretary after Ye Kom, and that Chim was then succeeded by his brother Kit?
Answer. No, I could not remember.
Was Kit someone that you knew fairly well?
I knew Takut really well.
Let me ask you about some other people that you've referenced in your various interviews. In a DC Cam interview D313/1.2.409, and here I'm referring to Khmer 00418-876, English 00729-094, and French 00808-678. You referred to a cadre named Takiv who had been arrested. Can you tell us what was Takiv's position in Tram Kok district?
From the beginning, Takir was the secretary of Tram Kok district. However, I only saw him for a few months, and then he disappeared, and I did not know where he went.
You said that he was arrested. How did you become aware that Takiv had been arrested?
I only knew that after he left, Takat was ill, and he rested at the house, and I was there as well. And at that time there was only him, Takat, and myself. And he told Takat that he would go away. And from that day onward, he disappeared.
Another person, or two people actually, that I'd like to ask you about. In answer 13 of your OCIJ statement E3 5511, you identified a person named Dan who held the position of chief or head of the district office. And in your DC CAM interview, D313/1.2.409, Khmer 00418-877, English 00729-095-96, French 00808-679, you identified a man named P, someone who had a broken leg and who had preceded Dan as head of the district office. Can you explain, my question is, can you explain what P and Dan's roles or responsibilities were as chief of the district office and how their function differed from the people who were district secretary?
P and Dawn were chief of the district office, and their main responsibility was to receive goods or materials sent from the upper level, that is from the sector level, and those materials included medicine. And in fact, the district office was a kind of a commerce office. It means that was the location where they received supplied or materials from the sector, and then they would make the arrangement for the distribution through the districts.
And you said in that same part of your DC CAM interview that P was a cruel person. What did you mean by that? Why did you say that?
I said that P was a cruel person, and although I was much older than him, and he was much younger and had a broken leg, but would threaten me, and he's really, really very cruel, but he passed away.
In another part of the same DC CAM interview, D313, 1.2.409, Khmer 00418-815, English 00729-031, French 00808-611. You provided the following statement about another occasion where you had tried to discuss the possibility of increasing production of medicine. And this is what you said in that interview, I quote, "I also wanted to make more productions, but I needed more raw materials. When I raised this issue, they said it would be impossible. Raising this issue, I had my conscience assessed. I was assessed as having the imagination of a bourgeois and an intellectual rather than a worker." End of quote. Who was it that criticized you as being a bourgeois and intellectual when you raised the idea of trying to produce more medicine?
At that time, it was the district secretary, that is Tachai, who said that I was a bourgeoisie and intellectual.
Was this the same meeting where you were accused of attacking the cooperatives for saying people had malnutrition, or was this a different meeting?
It was two separate matters.
And in that same DC Cam interview at Khmer 00418-817, English 00729-033, French 00808-613, you gave the following testimony or statement. Question: did patients die at that center? Answer: first, only few died occasionally, but later the death toll increased dramatically due to dysentery and malnutrition. And continuing below, generally speaking, malnutrition and dysentery led to 5 deaths per day in the last period. End of quote. Can you tell us why the number of deaths from malnutrition increased dramatically in the latter part of the Khmer Rouge regime?
Toward the later part of the regime, it became worse. People did not have anything to eat. For that reason, their bodies became swollen.
And I know you weren't trained as a medical doctor, but you received medical training and you worked at the hospital where these patients died. Can you explain to the court how it is that people died from malnutrition in your hospital?
I said they died from malnutrition because in general we need to have all kinds of nutrition for our body, and with the lack of nutrition, people got dysentery, but the main concern was that their bodies became swollen, and that caused by the lack of food and malnutrition.
Were the majority of people who died from malnutrition 17 April people or base people?
both groups. The best people also died, as well as the new people.
And after you were criticized by the district chief for attacking the cooperatives and for being a bourgeois and intellectual, did you ever raise again with the leaders of Tram Kok District the problem of malnutrition and insufficient medicine in the district?
No, I did not. I dare not do that again. I was very afraid by that time.
I'd like now to turn to a different subject, the subject of purges of enemies. In both of your OCIJ interviews, you described being present at a Tram Kok District meeting at which instructions were given on the categories or groups of people to be purged. And specifically in interview E319.1.21 at answers 40 through 43, you described how the district committee instructed that the following people were to be purged, and I quote, "Former government workers with the rank of first assistant to the chief of commune and above were to be arrested and sent to be executed. Former government police and military officials with the rank of warrant officer and above were also to be arrested and killed." Continuing in the next question and answer. Question: apart from the above categories, were there any other groups also to be purged? Answer: yes, any of the people who went around speaking against the Khmer Rouge had to be reported and taken away to be killed. Question: among the people considered Khmer Rouge opponents, were they also classified as feudalist, Chinese, CIA, KGB, Khmer Krom, Cham, or Buddhist followers? Answer: I did hear that people from Kampuchea Krom had been accused of being KGB agents, Yun spies. At those meetings, it was brought up that all the Khmer Krom had to be killed. End of quote. The first thing I would like to clarify with you, Mr. Witness, is whether there was only one meeting at which these instructions were provided, or were there multiple meetings where these issues were discussed?
On the issue of the purges, I only knew about this instruction only at that particular meeting that I attended.
And where did that meeting take place?
The meeting was held at a kitchen hall near Angroka Market. It was held right there in the kitchen hall.
How many district cadres were present at this meeting? And specifically, were the commune chiefs in attendance?
I cannot recall the total number. However, there were representatives from the nearby communes attending the meeting. There were many people who were evacuated from Phnom Penh and from Takeo. So the representatives from the communes attended the meeting, including the Pang Thom Khang Chương commune representative.
In your first OCIJ interview, E3/5511 at answer 9, you stated, and I quote, "The chiefs of the district, the communes, the villages, and unit members were invited to attend a conference. The conference participants were informed of what categories of people to be purged." Continuing below, "The conference was attended by the district committee. There was a planned purge. People who were targeted to be purged included soldiers from the ranks of corporal sergeant and above in the Army, and from the first deputy chief and above in the administration." Now, one thing I just want to clarify to be sure about, in the other OCIJ interview I read, the former military to be purged were described as those with the rank of warrant officer and above instead of corporal sergeant and above. However, when I looked at the French translation, the military rank was described the same in both interviews, that of adjutant. And your DC CAM interview also stated that the rank to be killed was anyone with the rank of warrant officer and above, who you referred to as commissioned officers. And this was a reference at D313 1.2.409 Khmer 00418-851, English 00729-068, French 00808-649. And what I wanted to ask you was just to explain what you meant by commissioned officers, and to have, in your words, in Khmer, the rank that the district committee instructed were to be purged.
At the meeting, he told us about the purges of all those people, and if those who were in the army, they had to be purged from the adjutant and up. And as for the administration side, it means from the first deputy chief and up or above.
And who was the district representative who provided these instructions at this meeting?
There was a Tachai. However, there were a few other commune chiefs who attended that meeting.
You have testified that there were commune chiefs present at this meeting, where the district committee gave instructions on the former Lon Nol soldiers and officials to be purged. There are a number of reports from communes relating to the arrests of former ranking officers or officials. I'd like to now show you a few of those reports. Mr. President, with your leave, I'd like to provide these documents together to the witness. They are E3/2048, E3/2435, E3/4103, and E3/2917. With your leave, I'll provide them to the witness together, and then I will go through the documents, and also we'd like to show them on the screen as we question the witness.
Yes, you may proceed.
Mr. Witness, I've handed you a number of documents. I'm going to take you through them one by one. The first is E32048, and it's Khmer page 000799089, English 00276 through 63, and French 00611 This is a report to Tramkok District, Angkar, from Chiang Torn Commune, signed by someone named Moon, dated the 30th of April, 1977. And it includes the following statement, quote, "After having received successive instructions from Angkar about being vigilant about the enemy and purging the enemy officers, we have tracked, examined, and found the following persons." End of quote. Do you remember a cadre from Chiang Torn Commune named Mun?
No, the name was not Moon. In fact, it was Boon.
The next report in the collection I gave you is also E32048 at Khmer 000799091, English 00276 and French 00611 And it is a report from Tapem Commune, signed by someone named Kit, that was sent almost at the same time as the last document on the 28th of April, 1977. And it reports that the commune had, and I quote, "examined and purged the enemies who held ranks after having received the instructions of the party." End of quote. My question for you about this document, was there another cadre in the district named Kit who was a representative of Tapem Commune, a different person than the Kit who was the district chief?
No, I do not know a person at the commune by the name of Kit.
The next document is E3/2435, and it is a report from Ang Tasam Commune to District Angkar, dated the 26th of April, 1977, which confirmed that, and I quote, "For those who have ranks as first lieutenant or second lieutenant, I am going to contact with Comrade Yorn, district military, in order to take them out this evening right away." And this note, I believe, appears on the second page of the report. My question, did you know a cadre from the district military named Comrade Yorn?
No, I did not know a person at that time by that name, John.
And then I have two documents from Papel Commune. First, E3/4103 at Khmer 00143476, and this is on the right side of that page. English 00322-133, French 00612-838. And this is a document dated the 11th of April from a cadre from Papel Commune named Chorn, who reported to the district, quote, "For those people who held a ranking position, we will send them to you one after another," end of quote. And 1 month later, in early May 1977, in the next document, E3/2917, the same commune reported to the district that 106 military families, 393 people, had already been smashed by Ankar or died, and the commune was screening more families to find out whether or not they are of the military personnel, end of quote. First, do you remember a cadre from Papel Commune named Chorn?
No, I did not, because the Papel commune was far from where I lived. I knew where Papel commune was, but I did not know who was in charge of that commune.
You've mentioned a woman named Bun, who was chief of Chang Ton commune. Did you know Bun's husband?
John was J. Bruin's husband, but I am not sure whether he is still alive.
Do you remember, was Ye Bun present at this meeting where the district chief announced this plan for purges of Lon Nol officers?
No, she was not there at the meeting.
These documents that I've shown you from 4 different communes in Tram Kak district are all from the same time period, April to early May 1977. Did these documents refresh your recollection about the timing of the meeting you attended, where instructions were provided on the purge of Lon Nol officers? And specifically, do you remember when, in relation to April 1977, that meeting took place? Was it before April 77, or was it after April 1977?
President Mr. Witness, please wait, and Council Coupet, you have the floor.
I object to this question. You would look in the dictionary for a textbook leading question. There we have one. This is not the way to ask a witness questions. By feeding him all kinds of details around dates, and then ask him to confirm. What's the purpose of this line of questioning?
If I may respond, Your Honor, the purpose of documents is they help witnesses remember dates. The question was not leading. I asked the witness whether the meeting was before or after April 1977. That is not a leading question. That is the exact opposite of a leading question.
President, the objection raised by the defense counsel is overruled, as the chamber needs to hear the response from the witness to the last question put to him by the international deputy co-prosecutor. And witness, please respond. Witness, please put the question again.
Do these documents refresh your recollection on the timing of the meeting you attended, where instructions were provided on the purge of Lon Nol officers? Do you remember, was that meeting before or after April 1977?
The meeting was held before 1977.
And one further question, Mr. President, before I change subjects. Do you remember, was this meeting during the time period that you were working at the district hospital?
Answer. The meeting was organized when I was working at the district hospital. President, thank you, International Co-Prosecutor. It is now appropriate time for lunch break, and the trial chamber will take a break from now until 1:30 this afternoon. Court officer, please coordinate the rest for the witness and his duty counsel with the vessels, and have both the witness and duty counsel back in the courtroom at 1:30 this afternoon, and security personnel are instructed to bring Mr. Kilsampon to the waiting room downstairs and have him back before 1:30 this afternoon. The court is now in recess.